Afternoon Rush, Bobby, Mark, and Al as we continue along here on this Wednesday afternoon. 7:30 the game, the exclusive radio coverage of the college football playoff, and it's presented by Buddha's Bazaar. Mention it's game time for 15% off and make your visit extra groovy. Find them at buddhasbazaar.com or follow the Good Vibes on Facebook and Instagram. The playoffs get started just a couple days from now. That first game, of course, in South Bend as Notre Dame will take on Indiana. And to help talk some playoff football with us, pleasure to go over the guest line and bring on from Fifth Down College Football. That's Mark Schipper. Mark, good afternoon. How are you?
What's going on, guys? I'm doing great. How are you doing?
We are doing well. Looking forward to this weekend and all four games. And let's just start here with these games. Who's the road team, Mark, you think, with the best chance for an upset this weekend?
Road team with the best chance. Clemson's got a great shot to beat Texas. And probably Tennessee, Ohio State would be my top two.
What is it about Clemson? Because it feels like Clemson not talked about much, and maybe that's how the season ended with the loss to South Carolina. But what gives you belief that potentially that obviously they could pull this off?
Yeah, that's kind of the reason why. You know, old Dabo and his squad backdoored their way in. They won that ACC championship in a crazy game. People aren't talking about him, and he's got that kind of shucks swagger about him. And Clemson as a program has been in these situations many times, so it's passed down the lineage through their classes. And if their offense goes off and Texas struggles a little bit, Quinn Ewers has been good, but he's struggled. Texas has kind of didn't play a great schedule, and against the best defenses, they had trouble getting the ball in the end zone. So I could just I could picture Clemson scoring enough to win. Though, I'm not calling for the upset, but I could see it happening.
Mark, I know they're based there in Chicago. Got to be a lot of excitement for Friday night in South Bend, Indiana, and Notre Dame in that first game. Have the Irish, because of that loss to Northern Illinois way back when, have they been kind of undervalued for most of the season, you think?
Yeah, I think that definitely has something to do with it, because when you look at people criticizing Notre Dame, one of the first things you see is they lost at home to Northern Illinois. And that's a very fair criticism. It was a monstrous upset and not even a very good Northern Illinois team. So Notre Dame really had to play poorly to lose that game. So once you've seen a team capable of doing something like that, I think your confidence in them basically is shaken until proven otherwise, and it has to be proven over and over again. So, yeah, Chicago, this is kind of Notre Dame's second home. They used to play a lot of home games here back in the day, and it's kind of exciting. The tickets for that game are consistently the most expensive and the fewest available of all these games. So, yeah, there's a lot of excitement.
Mark Schipper, Fifth Down College Football with us here on the Afternoon Rush. Meanwhile, we make our way over to Columbus. Mark, Ohio State and Tennessee. It'll be the first time an SEC team plays at Ohio State since you go back to 1988. And we know for the Buckeyes and what's surrounding this team with Ryan Day and that loss to Michigan. Is Day safe? Where are you with Ohio State and what the future holds there with the Buckeyes?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's safe ever at Ohio State unless they're winning national titles, I think Woody Hayes was mostly safe, and Urban Meyer was safe. Jim Tressel was safe until he got in trouble with the NCAA. But short of winning titles and beating Michigan, nobody is safe. And Ryan Day has certainly not been beating Michigan, even though his teams have overall had a lot of success. That is such a massive rivalry that if you lose it, you're on the hot seat. But here they are. They're in the playoff. They got a home game. They got an SEC school coming to town. So they got to play well. They got to shake off that loss to Michigan, and they got to be the best version of themselves. Losing to Tennessee, obviously, I don't think there's anything like that gets Ryan Day fired. But, unless they get blown out at home or things go totally awry, they got a lot of injuries, particularly on the offensive line. And the home crowd wants a good performance. We heard the booing against Michigan. So, yeah, it's a little bit of an ugly situation. A playoff win certainly would be some salve for those wounds.
So, Mark, as these playoffs are about to get underway, we're also right in the middle of transfer portal. You got the backup quarterback at Penn State transferring the other day, and it just seems like chaos. I know that Lane Kiffin has compared it to you don't see the NFL have free agency right in the middle of their playoffs where guys are switching teams. Do you see a plan down the road where this gets fixed and we don't see the transfer portal right in the middle of the playoffs?
Yeah, well, as everybody knows who looks into this, the reason that happens is because we are doing the transfer portal on the academic
Right.
calendar and
Yep.
not the athletic calendar. So that's the big issue. So, it's a tough situation, but it's a real crappy situation. It's a bad situation for programs, for college football, and for athletes. We saw James Franklin defended his backup quarterback who transferred, and he said, I don't blame the kid. It's not his fault. The NCAA has put him in an impossible situation, and he has to make the right decision. So, he had to go. And, James Franklin hated to lose him. So even the coaches have sympathy for the kids. Going forward, I think it's gonna end up being who's in charge of major college football, what governing entity. And if it is the NCAA, I think there's going to have to be some kind of solution based on tutoring, summer credits, makeup, this or that, or in some way detach football from the academic calendar and have these guys do things a different way. Because short of that, when you're dealing with quarters and semesters and people have to be enrolled at a certain time, their hands are a little bit tied. So it's not a good situation at all.
And Mark, as we look at and talk about all the other teams in the college football playoff bracket, the one we're not discussing are the number 1 ranked Oregon Ducks. How good are they, and should they be considered the favorite going into this weekend?
Yeah, I think so. I think they've been the best team in the country all year. They've been solid to spectacular. And really, they've never been much below that for any long period of any game. So, yeah, I think they've proved that they've been the best team all season and have earned it. But I would not say that they got the best draw. I would not say that they were rewarded for that regular season. They're going to have probably the most difficult bracket to get through. But, yeah, going into it, I think it's Oregon is the clear-cut favorite, in my opinion.
And you talked about that matchup in Austin this weekend. How soon, or what do you think the possibility of us seeing Arch Manning just a little bit more in this game, just giving them a wrinkle for Coach Sarkisian there?
I think we will see him, and I think we'll continue to see him in the way they have been using him, which is using his athleticism and his legs. This isn't Peyton or Eli Manning. This is a different breed of Manning. This one can run a little bit, and he's dangerous on his feet. So I think they'll do that. And because they've established the fact that he is dangerous with his feet, I think there's an opportunity to use him in the passing game as well. And for Texas, they have not run the ball well this year. They had a bunch of running back injuries in fall camp, maybe in the spring too, but fall camp. They were losing guys, and, man, it has ended up that way. They have not run the ball very well, so they're a very pass-heavy team. So I think Arch and his feet and then maybe some variation off that is important for them. I think it can be dangerous.
Mark, we won't see Georgia till next weekend, but certainly questions at quarterback for the Bulldogs. How are we right now are they still a team that you should not sleep on, or this doesn't feel like this is the vintage Georgia team that we've seen in the past?
Oh, they're still dangerous, very dangerous. Yeah, they're that number 2 seed. And, there's an argument to be made that QB2 might be in some ways more dangerous than QB1. So it's going to depend on what they see and how they execute. But I would not sleep on Georgia at all. That is they have so many talented athletes on that team. They have depth on that team, and they have experience in these kind of games. It's a very amorphous concept, that experience level, and how it's going to pay off, because sometimes teams that have never been there before just explode and it doesn't bother them at all, and sometimes experienced teams choke. But generally, I like experienced programs because I think the kids coming up on the roster and earning their starting positions get a good taste of the level of intensity and execution they need to win. And I think Georgia's just got that to an extent, probably more than any other team in the playoffs. So Georgia, dangerous.
Talking with Mark Schipper here, Fifth Down College Football on the afternoon rush. In terms of the coaching carousel, Mark, none bigger than just up the road from us, Bill Belichick at North Carolina. Do you like this move by the Tar Heels?
I like it because it's entertaining for us as fans to watch. I don't know how well it's going to work out for North Carolina, but it's going to be fascinating. It was Bill Belichick talked for years about how his dad was in college football when he was a kid and how much he loved college football, particularly the Naval Academy. And his dad, learned to be a scout there and everything, and wrote a very famous book on scouting. And his dad actually had experience at North Carolina. So, Belichick in that press conference, first of all, he said it was a dream come true to coach college football, which was interesting. And then he said, and I don't know if he was serious about this or not, but he said his parents told him his first words were beat Duke.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's serious or not, but I think, he's got a college-age girlfriend, basically. And, apparently he's feeling young again. And so who knows? Maybe he'll go in there and have a great time, recruit some kids, get some good assistant coaches, and have fun with it. I'm interested to watch it play out.
He seems to be embracing it so far, and he started embracing it, I guess, a while ago when he went down that path. Just outside Belichick, Mark, what has been your favorite hire that we have seen throughout this coaching cycle?
Oh, my favorite hire. I'm drawing a blank on the list. Give me some examples of.
He's got Rich Rod.
You know which one I like? Sorry, one I just thought of was it hurts Wazoo, but it's good for Wake Forest. Jake Dickert coming over from Wazoo. He's a good football coach, and at Wake Forest. So that's a good hire for the Deeks.
You think Rich Rod can find the magic at West Virginia again?
Yeah, another very interesting hire. There was a lot of stuff behind the scenes when he left that first time. A lot of almost sort of political infighting about the power Rich Rodriguez had as a coach and the way he left. It's hard to recapture magic, I think of like John Robinson going back to USC and some other moves like that. Bill Snyder went back to Kansas State and did very well. So who knows? Rich Rod, everywhere he's gone, basically except Michigan and I guess maybe the end of Arizona, he's proved he can still coach up an offense, score points, and win games. So that one could work out for West Virginia. He's certainly back home.
Mark Schipper, fifth down at college football. Mark, we appreciate your time here in Charlotte. Thank you very much.
All right, guys. Appreciate you. Have a great day.
You too. There you go. Great stuff with Mark. We'll jump into our Del Frisco's Prime Cuts coming your way next.